It is 7:04, and I will call this meeting of the Board of Commissioners to order. Assistant Thomas, would you please do a roll call for us?
Commissioner Brooks.
Present.
Commissioner Colbert. Here. Mayor Franklin.
Here.
Commissioner Fox.
Here.
Public Works.
Okay. Commissioner Prapat will not be attending tonight.
Public Works. Public Works. Police chief here.
Okay, thank you. We will now rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will move into a review of the agenda. One thing I need to, well, there's two things that need to, there's three things that need to change about the agenda. After this review of the agenda, I'll be reading the closed session report from last time. We were discussing going into a closed session this evening, but two of the commissioners cannot attend, so we are going to postpone that to April 8th. And lastly, the budget amendment is not a vote yet because it doesn't have an ordinance yet. Are there any other changes, additions, comments on that? All right. All in favor of the changes to the agenda, please signify by saying aye.
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 All right. Then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? So moved. Would you call the vote, please?
Yes. So Commissioner Brooks.
Yes.
Commissioner Colbert. Aye. Mayor Franklin.
Aye.
Commissioner Locke.
Aye.
Commissioner Curtis.
We'll move right into business then. And we're going to start with the FY25 budget amendment. The only change to this since we last looked at it is that, well, I should probably let Director Bond explain the road situation. That we had add money. You want to explain why we had add money for the road fixed?
Right.
At Elm?
Yes. So, good evening. So we simply because of the steel plate that's on Every Street, although it's a little past our threshold for where our paving project started on Elm Street. Also the county and the state, they both say it's ours because it's fast occurred. So we'll go ahead and get that taken care of on the home grid. There's a really rough section of service lane.
Okay.
Any other comments or changes to this?
How much additionally is that gonna cost? Do you have any ideas? Do you have any
I think
estimates?
we added $7,000 in the end. Yeah, not cheap. Some of the money for service lane really can probably come out of that state bond bill.
You looked into the one before you get to rectory? Is that one also being addressed? Past the library? Okay, so if you go, if you're coming up the road, from the library, no, not the library, excuse me, the post office. Is that one being addressed as well?
Speed on Mill Street,
Yeah,
we took care of that.
oh, okay, okay.
And we'll talk about potholes and whatnot in the administrative updates again. So, hearing nothing, we can move on. And take public comment. Is there any public comment on the FY 25 budget adjustment? Nothing. Okay. All right, so we'll move into the bigger piece, which is the FY 2026 budget overview. This is a board discussion. I am going to turn it over to our town administrator. We have some surveys and a draft budget to look at.
So before I start, typically, different municipalities have a different bit. You want to go over each revenue line by line, or if you have questions?
I think that it's worth noting the big stuff that is going to kind of give people a moment of concern, right? Like the speed cameras, and any like revenue line items that you think changed or whatnot, and then maybe we can share our thoughts on those, and then we can go through expenses. Is everyone up here good with that? Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. So tonight I will present an overview of the fiscal year FY 26 budget. And this budget does reflect input from the community and those from the town commissioners as well. So as part of the budget development process, there was a survey that was conducted. There were 31 respondents, and they were asked to really prioritize the three goals of the council, with economic development, infrastructure and beautification, resident services, and community engagement. 48% of the respondents are economic development. 39% prioritize infrastructure and beautification, and 13 emphasize resident services and community engagement. And what's really positive about the survey is that 97% of respondents also agree with the town's overall vision, which is a positive thing. So what we tried to do to make sure that our expenditures did reflect what the residents wanted, but also, it was fiscally responsible as well. All right. And a lot of this budget, the mayor kind of alluded to, it's a lot of predicated on annexation and what happens as a result of annexation and speed or installation and things like that. So that's a big part of the revenue as well. So if we go down and start through revenue, our real estate taxes, the initial budget projection was approximately $513,000, but with the loss of jobs in the federal government and the concerns that coming from the residents, our projection was reduced to $456,000. We took that down. Now, that's lower than previous fiscal years as well. So we were pretty conservative with that, making sure that we do recognize that there could be an economic downturn and being considered with that. So that was the big change with respect to taxes. So the overall revenue from taxes is $1,624,376.09. But I think I should start by saying estimated revenue for the fiscal year is $3,423,101.90. So that's what we're projecting right now. revenue was lower than our fiscal year 2024 actuals of approximately 4.5 million. But we had about 1.6 or 7 million that in right? And it's also slightly higher than our fiscal year 23 actuals of 3.4 million. And I should give this overview first. But currently, our fiscal year 2025, we are roughly 75% through the fiscal year, and our expenditures are at approximately 44. So we're looking pretty good, this year. We still have revenue coming in as well. So I should have started there, and I do apologize for circling back. So our total tax revenue would be $1,624,376.90. So if we go down to line items 4,200, five licenses, permits, which includes town permits, business licenses, parking meters, speed cameras, red light cameras, parking fines and penalties.
I think if you can kind of explain how we got to the speed camera money, because I know that's gonna give our residents some concern based on the past situation.
So the speed camera budget in previous fiscal year was $525,000, and I believe in FY 24, I think our actuals were around $330,000. You'll see that this year it almost jumps.
Yeah, increase it to like six.
It increased up to $950,000, but again, that's because we're looking at the completion of the annexation and the installation of 7 additional enforcement cameras. It would be 3 red light cameras, I believe, and 4 speed cameras, right?
And we've collected almost $600,000 this year already, so
Or
the four.
So if you're looking at what the revenue that would be generated from 7 speed light cameras in an area with a lot more traffic. And also red light cameras, the fines are at $75 or $75. So those fines will also increase as well. So we want to be as conservative as we could be with that number, but gotta be realistic as well. And it would probably take us, we're looking at revenue, it would probably take us about 90 days to get everything installed. Any questions?
2 questions. One, circling back questions. You said we're about 75% of the year in terms of the timing of the fiscal year, 44%, 70%. Where are we on revenue?
Revenue, we are at about, we're at 2.23 million of revenue. We're at about 60%. 60%.
We're anticipating the rest of that. The second question is this top line fines, licenses, and permits number that we're not budgeting anything next year.
Yes. That's because, remember you found it was like, we budgeted it in the top end, but really it gets accounted in these bottom numbers underneath.
Yeah. So the fines, licenses, and permits it's like town permits, business licenses. So it's going to be zeroed out. That's really not money.
And there's been some issues with how those are getting coded that we're still trying to work out. So I think possibly that this is the revenue is underestimated.
We are working on that coding issue. I have a call, and all of us were working. It's the coding, but it's also authorized. It's a lot of things. So it's
yeah.
I should have those final numbers.
I think there's another conversation we can have. Business licenses. So why we have this year. Wow.
We have, but again, that goes to coding.
Okay.
And that, so it goes to coding, and so we are sending business licenses out starting in June. And we do have about 58 that good until next year, but the remainder are all going up. And that's 2 years. Okay.
Okay.
You're good? Derek, do you have any questions about the revenue and
No,
Commissioner Brooks? Sorry.
not at this time.
You want to move on to expenses? Before we move on to expenses, can I just say, say, when we dropped off this survey, people asked how long they could have, and I told them that they could have until we adopt the budget. Is it okay to leave it open? And then we can just pull down more data? Okay, thank you. So,
But I think they're also, so the total fines that I think, which is $1,262,000. We're also looking at highway user fees this year, and this is my fault, the $49,925
that's
number is not correct, it's $50,994.
yeah. I thought we changed it too.
Yeah, I thought that was changed that.
It's actually 944.
It's like 22 cents or something weird like that. We'll put the,
And state police is 30,000.
I feel like was it more this year?
30,000.
State police, it's 30, okay, sorry.
So if you go through, there's really, there aren't many significant changes. Line item 4,400. And, I'm sorry, so if we to continue down to some of the more significant areas would be grants. Last year we had, we were financing more than $1 million in grants that we were, that was included in the budget. This year, we did it. So we've got about $428,000 that we're owed for projects. And those aren't grants, they're bonds. So we've already, I have the grant administrator now. We are putting in applications to be, submitted to be free.
And then those just are being treated differently. They'll still be here and itemized better. We talked about, they won't be part of our amount of budget.
And also, just something that is, this is my first budget with the South of Marlboro, is that we're also looking at, probably next year, we're not going to do it this year. But we're going to look at changing the line items, making them a bit clearer, maybe adding a few line items here and there. There's some things that are sort of included in some line items that could probably be taken into account. But that's a change that we're going to make next year. And now we're on to general government expenditures. Pretty expensive, 34,000, that hasn't changed. Same there.
Our expenses are like MML.
Expenses are MML and certain dues. That really hasn't increased much from the previous fiscal year. And then we'll move down to general government salaries, which would be the employees for 289, 380. I believe the previous fiscal year was 274. So it did increase by 15,000. But we are going to have staffing is a bit different. And it also includes a 2.2% cost of living based on federal government. So the changes there in the salary aren't significant.
And we also have a drop in the professional services because we're taking some of it.
So that balance. So again, with benefits, there's going to be a bit of an increase in pension and benefits. Our accounting services, we're looking at reducing that from 40,000 to 28, because we're going to do a lot of it in-house now, which, you know, again, will help explain the increase in staff. I mean, that balances out to 274. Right, the increase from 274 to 289. The town attorney fee,
When we're spreading it over departments.
yeah, being spread over the department, it's not going to change. It's just that it's being divided between the police department, general government, and public works based on the amount of use for each department. And that same is being spread through IT, media relations, human resources, and things like that. So we're spreading those out. That hasn't been done in recent years, but we are doing that this year.
Been done kind of like weirdly, so this is a little more official.
So again, there were some changes. Media relations did increase by 5,000.
And we'll be putting out an RFP for that.
A lot of these services, besides the town attorney, but we, I think I see is good, but media relations, general government, human resources, planning, things like that. We are going to have RFPs out. Training increased about $3,000. We're looking at training the staff a bit more and having them attend conferences so that they can really, we've got a newer staff with not a lot of experience in government, so just kind of getting them acclimated to that. It's an increase of about $3,000, which includes the increase in cost of the conferences and things like that.
So rather than conferences, well, some conferences, but is anyone going to actually take any classes?
Yes, so conferences, that's one part, but most of my general government staff will be in classes.
Okay.
So we'll be. Right. You know, there's something like postage that increases, that changes. And I'm really going to keep an eye on postage as well, because it's depending on how often we get the newsletters out. If we do it monthly, I mean, we may start doing it monthly, and then it might be every other month, right? But we want to get the newsletters out.
Which ones are we talking about? The like the booklet ones?
They would probably be quarterly.
So it's still going to be
Quarterly,
quarterly?
but we still want to get information out monthly.
Mm-hmm.
I think there seems to be a disconnect between the residents and the business owners for how we're getting information out. And so we thought that, you know, we'll try to mail some of these newsletters out monthly.
I know we increased printing back up to 18,000 to match that. And I wasn't thinking about that. We might want to go to 3,000 for the postage. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that earlier.
So, same plan.
What falls under general government supplies for you?
Well, I like to be anything, but that's all,
Paper.
letters, paper,
Yes.
that's,
Okay, so you jumble all of it together.
basically everything.
Anything the staff needs for ergonomics.
Chairs, desks, things. Now, some of that may be,
Paper plates.
paper plates.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, like, that's not really supplies. You know what I mean? If it's furniture, it's furniture, or office equipment versus general supplies.
So that's one of those line items we can say, you know, we can take those things out of general government. Supplies items, and it could be a line item furniture. It could be a line item. It could be a line item, break room supplies.
I mean, we can-
break it.
Okay,
There's that line item is there. We can look at splitting it up a little. Look at how we spent it last year.
How utilities is going up a bit, utility costs are increasing everywhere. So we did increase that. Town hall repairs. And we're hopeful that, I don't think we had a lot to do this year, so, and most of it's new anyway, so we're trying to do work. So, we're not anticipating.
Oh, I think we moved it to Public Works. I think
Yeah.
it's 5-0. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the work.
quick question. Okay, I see it. Yeah. You have some, I was trying to see the contingency, I didn't see it.
And then, government operating total 130. Revenue down expenses, with respect to our events and committees. The events committee, we increased that budget by about $800. 13 budget is the same. Green team budget increased to 1,500. We got quite a few people who've been interested in the green team and starting projects there. Our events budget has remained the same. Summer Street has remained the same. Marlboro Day, we did increase by $2,000. We want to, look at doing some things this year to increase attendance. So we did it. And the winter holiday budget was increased to $3,000. So the total expenses for general government, $735,800.46. I know that we've sort of had discussions as I've gone through, but if we've got any additional.
Government questions?
So I will turn this over now to public safety. And see where.
So, pretty much the items listed by town administrator, Clayton said, this is all in reference to the annex. So part of my budget is increasing the staff by 2. Also, hiring an administrative assistant, looking to increase the number of vehicles to 3, I need 5 additional vehicles. So as you see, some of these lines have gone up, obviously the salaries have gone up. That's based on what we've already talked about, the speed camera revenue and area. Support that. The pensions and benefits that fluctuates right now. Most of my staff does not have that. They all take that. So that's why I'm understanding. So we do some of these taken part of that. I already talked about the speed camera increase. That's why that number has gone up to 301. That's for the actual fees for the speed camera. So we must pay to release the equipment. Pretty much, everything is there. If you don't have a question.
Section.
You know what I was thinking, when the employees come into the police department, and they go through their testing, how come you can't allow them to pay for a portion of it, and then if they actually come aboard, we reimburse them? So they'll take the weight off of us so we can really see if you're really serious about coming on board, instead of doing all these testing, and then they decide they don't want to work.
I mean, I would say recruitment, we're gonna have trouble recruiting if people have to pay for themselves, because other places are giving them signing bonuses and more than we're giving them.
Okay.
So, not that it's a bad idea, we just won't be able to hire police officers. We do. Yeah. That's what everyone else is doing, basically.
That answers my question.
And when the mayors get together, we'll say, stop offering sign-up bonus, it's making it hard for us, but Nobody listed. Any other questions? Yes? Ready for Public Works?
Good evening, again. First, I'd like to start off, I apologize for, public works salary 7110. There was a change in there that needs to be made. It hasn't, happened so far. That number for FY 26 is not 369, it's 338. For a vacancy that we currently have, and I didn't think was in the budget. We anticipate overtime, hopefully spending, same for this year. FICA, we hopefully stays the same as well, as we're a little under the budget. Currently, health, dental, just looking at the bills and how they've been coming in, it looks like we'll be slightly under, next fiscal year. But as far as the pension and benefits, a lot of the spending and saying that we're coded correctly, so then we anticipate that number goes up this year. The collection disposal fees, I accounted for our, collection disposal fees for our, bulk take totals for the Annex area, however, for the disposal contractors, there should be cost per unit for recycling or trash, and just need to double check. What that number will increase with the stations. And then things with maintenance, repairs, beautification. And just a lot of that is, we have a vehicles, maintenance budget, but for things like our lawnmowers and tractors, things that are starting, we anticipate those, Christmas decor, I believe this is zero out because there's two different line items for that.
It's been going in like 3 different places, so we just put it back into beautification.
Training dues, actually anticipate, staying the same, although I was able to find a pretty large training and conference for them to this fiscal year. But those are kind of few parts of the team, so we anticipate that staying the same for next year. Public works other, that's pretty much all miscellaneous.
The steel coating in the street maintenance, 60,000.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, as far as the street maintenance, we anticipate there's quite a few streets that are in need of repair, and the streets that we have to redo over the past 5 to 10 years. We should definitely get those seal coated, so that they last their entire lifespan and not fall on the children. Because that's where that much jumping number is. Vehicle maintenance, and that's the same, it's 15,000, that's the start to sort of rotate our fleet. Public works utilities, that's what things the same as well. Mobile phone as well, small tools and equipment, as we have more to do with things, working and things like that, and what the cost, we just got that. 1,000. Office supplies stays the same. Computer software and equipment, that stays the same as well. Public works septic tank. We increased that because quite often for the events, we have a rental unit that doesn't really fall within an item, so it gets looped with the facility for public works. Uniform, anticipate that staying the same. So it's about time for refresh, it's still stay around the same amount. we would be adding, we would be taking on the line for general government for town hall repair and maintenance. So that, you know, as things happen with town hall, I'll have to keep one of the plates and say, hey, you know, if you agree with this, you know, this is why we need X, Y, and Z.
Fix it.
Public works fuel, we anticipate. I think that one may need to increase a little bit. We'll see prices going up again and if the new vehicles and the increased power generator. That's probably.
And I think it's worth saying, like, this is the budget, and it's gonna mostly stay this, but there's like actual numbers that we get in that we haven't got in yet. So there will be minor changes as we go forward, and things will get cleaned up and look neater, and CIP will be presented and all.
Public works, streetlight, electricity, this is kind of going to be a critical one, so a pin down for this year. This year, I did a survey of what actually belongs to us in McKinney, and the overwhelming majority of the streetlights within town do not to us. So we were one point looking at very nice bill credit. The county accepted all of the streetlights that belong to them, however, the state did not, and the state is what majority of the streetlights. So that is ongoing conversation for to figure out who's going to take those streetlights, but most municipalities. I mean, these cookies with that stuff.
There is some municipal coordination on this. That's why Director Bond has no clarity, because still in process.
So, public works insurance, we anticipate, that going on, we actually have a meeting with legit on the sort of been. We've been billed at a lower amount, for, yeah, 10 years from no fault of our own. So they're not gonna come back for the, for that amount, but moving forward, they will actually make sure that it's correct. Fuel control, just over the last few years, I've seen that, tend to creep up and with the free service area and just that by so. Total operating, going from 618,400 to 801. Take any questions?
We have it on this one. What is resident assistant? What that's it?
No, it's five, isn't it 5,000? I thought we made it. Oh, that's the one that's in two places. So it's like a holdover. This category exists, but it's actually, if you go to, it has an 8,500 and then a 45 number. Is the issue, or 54 number.
Is that for the public works?
No, it's under general government, 5495 GG contribution. Because what it used to be ARPA funded, which is why it was under grants and awards. And some of the ARPA money is still funding that, but we're also putting additional. So it moved to general government. Do you see it?
Yeah.
And we'll do the CIP with the breakdown of vehicles and other stuff next time. Yeah,
I want to get a feel for
Yeah.
where we are.
and operating, yeah. Questions?
And, let's go back to the public stuff, the actual, for this year, $2,263,000.
No, you can.
Is that the actual revenue?
Do we want to take public comment or everyone's sure?
On the whole banner, that we're talking about.
Well, because these other items, really, we'll talk about the grants and then also, well, these debt services are related to the capital improvement plan, which will present on August 8th, no, April 8th. Starts with an A,
It's okay.
April 8th.
And then we'll clean up and whatever, we'll clean it.
We'll clean everything up and put in, you know, just sometimes some of the revenues and expenses come in as actuals and the notices come in really between now and sometimes they even come in after the budget. So as they come in, we'll update those. Okay. So ready for public comment? All right. If you have a public comment, you're online, raise your hand. You're in here, come up, please name your street and your name. It can be generally about the budget too. You didn't get a chance to take the survey yet or anything. Okay. We will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the Trinity Church parking lot agreement. I know, I don't know if you spoke with Reverend Ntochi recently. Okay. Oh, so I'll let you present this. You were the most recent one to talk to him.
I did, there was that error on my part, I think one of the agreement that the commission saw. You've seen the actual correct agreement?
Mhm.
And then I forwarded the previous draft of it, okay? But nothing has changed from the approved it, originally there. I did reach out to the representative via email and gave him a copy of this as well, which he had always. We did not come to an agreement to the question of after hours, right? And what that's going to look like. I know that the reverend made a few suggestions, but I don't think that it would necessarily work with what the rest of them wants with separate parking. So that question hasn't been resolved there. It's not a part of the agreement. You're going to be voting on tonight, the original agreement. It's not going to include the valley park.
And after.
That's a ongoing conversation, of a possibility, and then the disagreement or.
Yes, if we can figure, we can have we can get him. Then it can be amended later on.
I think that makes sense to get this moving forward because I think there's going to be demand for it. Any questions, comments from the board? We will take public comment and then I'll call for a vote. Any public comment on this?
Our place is open place. Don't know what editing process happened, but at least two that I've noticed so far. Page 2, flood term. Right at the end, I think it says the off the improvements will be done with the straight line, but there's a 5 in the middle of that. And then on our page 3, 4 owner responsibility in view. The property owner agrees to terminate or modify any parking contracts that has with tow companies. See, that's just that it has, those things have been covered. Okay. So, it's hard to make any comments, or the
Seeing no other comments, is there a motion to approve the Trinity Church parking lot agreement?
So moved.
Is there a second?
That's right.
Would you call the vote for us, Aiden?
Commissioner Brooks? Aye. Commissioner Colbert?
Aye.
Mayor Hartman?
Aye.
Commissioner Watson?
Aye.
Commissioner Terry?
All right, before we move into administrative updates, I said I was gonna read this closed session summary, and then I did not read it at the beginning of the meeting, so I need to read it now. So on March 11th, 2025, at 8:09 PM, there was a closed session held. It was closed under General Provisions, Article 3-305B1, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction, any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals, and 2, to protect the privacy or reputation of individuals concerning a matter not related to public business. The motion to go into closed session was made by Commissioner Lott, seconded by Commissioner Colbert. Both voted in the affirmative, along with myself, Commissioner Pravat, and Commissioner Brooks. In attendance was all commissioners, including our town administrator and our police chief. There were no votes except for the vote to adjourn at 9:30. We discussed a personnel matter, and we discussed a matter with regard to a municipal organization. That read into the record, we will move on to administrative updates. I know that Director Bond is going to give us kind of a pothole update because folks are concerned about.
I have a quick question, Donnell. Director Barnes. It says that you began to work with the stormwater, property. Is that where the grave sites were? Oh, okay. How is that coming along?
So we're just waiting for the.
Uh-huh.
So we do have a verbal yes, to go ahead and move forward, using the cemetery as an.
Oh, great. And one more question, it says that you reserved the rental truck, trailer, and forklift for the splash, pad. What budget is that coming out of? It's a series of emergency though.
There's a line item that's
Because it was an unanticipated, it kind of, yeah, it was an expense. We didn't get your stuff out of here.
was sort of an emergency, and
Right.
$300,000 equipment.
Okay.
So that's what brought it. Okay. We have.
Sorry, did you want, well, you want to do the potholes and the whole fire, just kind of an update on all the street stuff that people have been concerned about, because they keep calling me asking me.
All right, good evening, everyone. As of last week, every pothole within town, whether it's the town's jurisdiction, county, whether it's, impact, has all been reported and added to a list. Everything that belongs to the town has been patched as of last week as well. As far as the large, I'll say, sinkhole in the middle of Main and Water Streets. Not sure if I relayed this information last time, but it actually turns out that was the doing of WSSC. So I reached out to them, and they said that it was supposed to be taken care of by the end of last week. Obviously, that didn't happen, so I called back today, and we now have. They have an expedited ticket on it, and we now have contact of the person who actually schedules that. Also, we are a part of the class for all WSSC phases. So now that gets put on the schedule and assigned to actual group, we would know who is coming up and when it's actually happening. But as of right now, it has not been assigned, and there's 2 open tickets. So tomorrow morning, I'll be reaching out to the contact that I was getting today to see what the steps are for.
There's one hole still in front of, when you come out of Marlboro Town, and you make that right in front of, over the top, that hole is still open. Like a piece of paper.
So, well, somehow they say that it's changed hands and it's now coming. But if you notice, that's what I actually paid it, because, quite often I put in tickets and you say that they can't find them, so, you know. Just trying to.
That was smart. That was smart.
Yeah, so every pothole that is reported as
That's really smart.
And then he can, with the list that he has, he'll be checking on the potholes. If we patch a pothole on a state road and then it pops up and someone's car gets damaged or whatever, then the town becomes liable for that. Or and possibly liable to damage the state road, so we can't fix anything that isn't on our list.
as I've been instructing everyone who's called in about the intersection of Main 180. If you have another complaint for that, I'm just saying that the state requirement time, I've been urging everyone to actually call up WSSC, because the more calls they get about it, the further it is up.
If you can tell WSSC you're getting lots of calls, but until they're the ones getting called. And then there was the fire hydrant damage, I think they fixed that today.
Well, they fixed it on Monday, but they came out with the repairs, and there was actually forward, left behind roadway, so they filled that in today. There's still quite a bit of cleanup that needs to happen. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do for the homeowner. But yeah, that's been taken care of. This is going to be, will be, taken a look at.
So whenever the work on the water scheduled, that's the first one, shutting down for there. You have a communication plan in place to notify people ahead of time, or is that something that see it?
Usually, that's something that they will do ahead of time, but the way it's looking, from what I'm seeing now, that the weather is better, you're starting to schedule stuff. You're not gonna see that. But, as soon as I know something, I'm sure.
Sometimes we don't know until they're actually there, shutting down the road, but we'll communicate when it's there. Any administrative updates from public safety?
So, I'd like to pass these out to the board so that you all can take a look at, particular flyer that you all like, be voted on necessarily, but just to pass out to all the business owners and residents about some of the things they need to be aware of when it comes to code compliance and properties or the standards, so forth and so on, so that every resident and every business owner will be mailed a copy. Then we'll hand deliver copies so that everyone will know what we are looking for and expectations. So it's something I thought that we should probably do to help mitigate some of these questions about what's available, subsidy change, I think. Additional changes that some don't like, whatever.
Maybe give them some feedback offline via email or phone call in the next week, and then it'll go out. Is that fair?
Let me ask you, I kind of find, okay, I'm looking at this, it says working on your personal vehicles on residential streets or in driveways is also a code violation. When people buy homes, they look to do things that I guess they couldn't do in an apartment. And one of the things would be if they wanted to work on their vehicle, I don't see what the issue is. If they park on their grass, or it's, you know, as long as the car is not there permanently, if they park on their grass, like say if they had overflow of companies come over, and they're having a party and, you know, they're trying to get parking spaces and it's not a lot of parking, so sometimes people will go on their grass. So how is that how are we taking that as a code violation?
So the county actually does not allow parking on grass, period. That's just.
So do we have to adapt all of the county, no, I just want to ask, do we have to adapt all of the county rules?
The other part of this is, it's not every single situation. If somebody's working on their car, you can work on your car. It's just when their car is sitting there for weeks and months. And,
Mhm.
you know, that's the issue. So if somebody's working on their car, that's not a violation. But the car is being worked on, sitting for weeks and months, that's when the violation comes into play.
And I think too, a violation, like, so you maybe have a party and you have all these cars here and they give you a courtesy notice saying not to get it fixed within 15 days. It will be fixed. Like, even if you got a notice that you had all these cars because you were having a party, it wouldn't matter because the party would be over in a few hours and the cars would be gone and you would no longer have. Same with if you're changing your oil or your tire. Or your
It's only if there's an extended period of time. If it's something that's a day or two, then it's nothing. It's an extended period of time. Somebody, you know, got an engine sitting on the ground and hood off and stuff like that. That's more than just doing a repair. It's like doing auto mechanic, you know, stuff that you do in the shop. So in most instances, it's just giving people awareness of what the policies are. So, but they're not going to be enforced on the very first. I mean, if you see somebody working on a car, you know,
So, but my question is still, can we pick and choose which rules we want to follow from the county, or do we have to adopt all of them?
So I think that was the discussion we had when we adopted property standards, and we decided that we just wanted to take the county standards and move forward with them, and that's what we voted on.
Yes, I remember.
So,
I remember.
again, those infractions are not day up. They're minimum 10, 15, 20, 30 days or more before you can get a courtesy notice. Unless someone actually calls and says, hey, I've been looking at this problem for the last 3 weeks. And you may get the notice a little sooner, but for the most part, notices are not given out the day that it's seen. It's just observed for a period of time, and if it doesn't correct itself, so just like grass, you know, if it rains for a week and 2 weeks later, there's grass that's 18 inches high, 2 weeks have gone by, so you might get the courtesy notice.
Okay.
Nothing instant, just has to be for a period of time.
and I think the grass notices go out sooner because there's a point at which the public works equipment cannot do the job and we have to pay someone else to do the job. That's why those are a little quicker.
If there's something to change, you have to let me know by
And
next week, that way, or whatever, that way I can make adjustments. Next meeting. That's just the intro template, so that everybody will have it, you know.
I have one. Yeah, I'm sorry.
oh, you have an update. Okay.
And as you all know, Ms. Bassett, I'm not sure what you did. County has the 2.5 for redevelopment. And the next coming week or two will be meeting with the members of the council, you know, to try to figure out how we can get some of that money so that we can start our, you know, redevelopment and so we'll keep you posted on that. We're looking at
In the next 2 weeks, and I mean, we've been moving forward on it through redevelopment authority, but every time we like get somewhere with redevelopment authority, they get a new head of redevelopment authority. So things are moving, things are positive, especially around the own site with getting that activated. But I think, yeah, we gotta get some more consistency. So meeting with council. Okay, anything from the board for the good and honor before we go to public comment? All right, general public comment, come on up or raise your hand online and we will hear from you.
Hi, George, Angle number five. The painting from the puzzles is good. There were some folks in the UK that found the painting penises work even faster for getting them painted up.
Again, it's a family show. Please, thank you.
So on the, I don't know who's received the courtesy notice yet, to know what they look like, but, really hard to figure out actually, like, subtitle 25, you know, figuring out what the law actually is that it matches up to, so you know what you're needing to do for compliance, is to remove excessive ivy and trying to search on what the rules were actually on ivy, I found nothing. I don't know what is in those things that are going out, but there was stuff like, my neighbor Victor got cited for his wood pile and branches down in his yard. And the town offers the town truck to drop him off to clear it up, and he knew about it because I told him, but you know, anyone else who got cited for that might not know about that. Do they know about the fact that we're a state community, and so they're eligible for grants and tax rebates? That part of the town is on the historic register, like the Upper Marlboro Western Residential District, I think is the name of it. So they're eligible for other sorts of grants for property repairs. You know, letting people know if you want them to paint, but you can get some money, you know, get some money for it, or at least a tax rebate for doing so. You know, the carrot versus just the stick. And then, also a reminder that board games next Wednesday.
Thank you.
Maybe in March.
All right. So we'll move on to preliminary approval of next meeting agenda. I think we should probably approve the budget amendment with an ordinance, if we can add a special meeting to the beginning, just to vote on that. Does that work? And then, we'll go over the budget and maybe do a sort of public comment period around the charter amendment, because that public hearing will be on the 22nd. But not necessarily a public hearing, but a public comment period, in the middle.
For the budget and the charter?
Well, we'll always hear, so yeah, so when we talk about the budget, even though it's a work session, I'll open it up to public comment anytime we talk about the budget, from here till we're done adopting it, but also just creating a space on the agenda for people to comment on the charter amendment. Anything else? That the vacant, will the vacant no, we won't be ready.
Well, that is a discussion.
So we're gonna also add, there's an issue with the vacant property, or if they like the vacant property ordinance. There's this like little issue with it, which we can explain on the 8th and talk about how we'll fix it. So that's 3 things for the 8th charter, or 4 things, 2 budgets, and the charter and the vacant property. Yeah, CFP and grants. All right. Everyone seems okay with that? So is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. That's all of us, Aiden. Thank you.